Shannon should just step out with his boyfriend and let people know I'm bisexual, but this is who I'm with. And every now and then I experience my wild side.
You think he's a zest monster?
I definitely think he's bisexual.
When Uncle said he want to date younger men, they killed me. What they said, what the women, what? Yeah, what I said, I want to date younger women. What I said? Oh, when I want to date, when I want to date younger women.
Hey, the shit that he planned don't work, I'm gonna come up with something.
And just like that, the internet lost its collective mind. This clip dropped and instantly went viral, sparking one of the messiest celebrity conversations we've seen all year. Shannon Sharpe, NFL legend, talk show icon, and podcast mogul, just got thrown into the kind of rumor storm that even TMZ can't keep up with. It started with a few jokes, a couple of zesty comments, and then boom, the floodgates opened. The streets of X, formerly Twitter, lit up with memes, side eyes, and hot takes faster than a 50-cent post can go viral. Everyone suddenly had an opinion, and let's be real. The internet loves a DL celebrity story more than actual news, but this one hit different. Shannon isn't just another random name in the algorithm. He's the man who built a media empire out of honesty, grit, and that southern uncle energy we all love. So, when whispers about his wild side started floating, people weren't ready to hear it. One user said, "Shannon went from motivational quotes to mystery files in 0.5 seconds. Another tweeted, "Not Uncle Shay being the main character on messy TikTok this week." I can't take it. And yet, behind the memes and chaos, there's a darker undertone. Because this isn't just about a rumor, it's about reputation, power, and the kind of exposure that can end a career overnight. What makes it even crazier? This clip wasn't random. It came right before 50 Cent allegedly dropped some deleted DL files. Yes, those files, claiming he had receipts on Shannon. It's like every corner of social media turned into a courtroom, and everyone became a lawyer with Wi-Fi. Was Shannon being exposed, or was he being targeted? Either way, this is where everything starts spiraling. Because once 50's name got involved, you already know, it stopped being gossip and turned into a full-blown scandal. But that's not even the wild part. You're about to see how a single clip triggered lawsuits, betrayals, and maybe even one of the biggest media takedowns of 2025.
Here's the final stop of the day. The wines. See the line started over there. My last stop of the day. We got up early, had a late night. We don't do excuses here. We just get the job done. Because this one we signed up for.
The moment that headline hit, 50 Cent leaks files on Shannon Sharpe, the internet practically combusted. You could feel the collective gasp echoing through every group chat, podcast, and comment section. This wasn't just tea, this was scalding lava. 50 Cent, the undisputed king of trolling, the same man who's built a 20-year career off calling people out, had allegedly stepped into Shannon's world with so-called deleted files. And when 50 gets involved, you know things are about to get ugly. This man doesn't throw subliminals, he throws grenades. Fans started connecting dots immediately. Wait, why would 50 even care about Shannon? Is this another Diddy-type situation? Did someone cross him behind the scenes? Twitter detectives were typing faster than FBI agents on caffeine. One viral tweet said, "If 50 said he got files, it's over. That man never lies about receipts." Another user replied, "Bruh, 50 been holding on to people's secrets like Thanos collecting Infinity Stones." But here's where it gets deeper. This entire scandal didn't just fall out of the sky. It had a buildup, a slow burn, a domino effect that started months ago and is now exploding in real time. Because before the leaks, before the DL rumors, Shannon was living his best post-NFL life. TV analyst, podcast host, brand deals rolling in, and his name being whispered next to 8-figure ESPN contracts. Then, boom, out of nowhere, an OnlyFans model steps in. A $50 million lawsuit gets filed, and suddenly, Shannon's name is trending, not for his takes on LeBron or Tom Brady, but for something way messier. And 50's timing? Too perfect, too calculated. Almost like he was waiting for this exact storm to hit before pulling up a chair and saying, "Oh, now this is my kind of entertainment." But it wasn't just entertainment. Behind the memes and messy comments, there's a pattern, a story about power, image, and what happens when you become too successful for the system to control. And while the internet was busy debating whether Shannon was living a double life, the real chaos was already brewing. Because that lawsuit, it wasn't just tabloid gossip. It had receipts, lawyers, and serious accusations attached. This isn't your average Hollywood rumor. This is the kind of thing that can flip a millionaire into a meme overnight. But hold on. Before you decide who's the villain here, wait till you hear who really filed that lawsuit and what she's claiming. Because this next part, it makes everything so much messier. You're not ready for this next clip.
This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine.
And there it is, the match that lit the fire. April 21st, 2025. OnlyFans creator Gabby, also known online as Carly, drops a $50 million lawsuit on Shannon Sharpe's doorstep. Not a tabloid headline, not a rumor, a legal document. She accused him of serious misconduct, emotional manipulation, and trauma during their 2-year relationship. And the timing? Suspiciously cinematic. Right when Shannon was leveling up, new ESPN deal, viral podcast, growing brand, boom. Suddenly, he's fighting for his career and reputation at the same time. Now, you'd expect a man in that position to go quiet, right? Hire lawyers, release a statement, disappear. But nope, Shannon went full Club Shay mode. He fired back instantly, calling it all a setup. He's out here posting motivational captions, hitting the gym, and reminding everyone he's built different. But while he's flexing discipline, the internet's dissecting every word. Final stop of the day? Fans said, "Bro, is that a threat or a podcast teaser?" TikTok users flooded the comments. Bro fighting allegations with protein shakes. Not Uncle Shay turning court cases into content. And honestly, that's what makes this case so wild. Shannon's reaction wasn't fear, it was defiance. He basically said, "You think you can cancel me? I've survived worse than hashtags." But behind that confidence was a deeper frustration. According to insiders, Shannon felt ambushed. He believed Gabby was part of something bigger, a setup designed to hit him where it hurts, his money and his image. Because let's be honest, this man's brand is honesty. His entire empire, Club Shay, his sports takes, his podcast dominance, is built on authenticity. You can't sell real talk while fighting accusations like this. And that's where the chaos began. Because Shannon wasn't just fighting a woman with a lawsuit. He was fighting an army of internet detectives who had already decided the verdict before the case even started. Within 24 hours, hashtag Shannon Sharpe exposed was trending on X. Fans divided into 2 camps, those calling him a manipulator, and those saying he's the latest target in a money-hungry smear campaign. But here's the part nobody expected. Shannon wasn't done talking, not even close. He had names to drop, accusations to make, and a whole new villain to call out, a man known for going after powerful figures. Because the moment Shannon said Tony Busby, the internet lost it. This wasn't just some random lawyer. This was a name tied to controversy, headlines, and high-profile scandals. And now, he was allegedly coming for Shannon. And that's when this story went from drama to war.
Is sued for defamation and trying to take me down. My career is all about real talk and honesty.
That right there, pure Shannon energy. Calm, collected, almost too confident. You can tell he's not backing down, not even a little bit. While most people would be hiding from paparazzi or drafting PR apologies, Shannon's posting like he's still prepping for game day, talking about no excuses, get the job done. Bro, this man's acting like the lawsuit is just another NFL playoff. And in his mind, maybe it is. Because according to Shannon, this whole thing is one giant cash grab, a shakedown from someone who saw the size of his new ESPN contract and thought, yeah, it's my turn to collect. He said everything between him and Gabby was 100% consensual, 2 adults doing adult things. But once his bag got bigger, the vibe allegedly changed. Suddenly, she's claiming trauma and he's claiming setup. And honestly, it's the oldest Hollywood formula in the book. Fame, Money, and Revenge, Remix 2025 edition. Fans immediately started choosing sides. Some people were like, he's just defending himself. She's trying to ruin a man's legacy for clout. Others said, classic gaslight move. They all say it was consensual until screenshots drop. It's messy because both sides are playing chess with public opinion. Gabby's dropping legal documents, Shannon's dropping motivational reels, and the audience? We're stuck in the middle, eating popcorn and trying to decode who's lying. But if you followed Shannon's career, you know he's not the type to crumble under pressure. The man went from growing up in poverty to becoming one of the highest paid voices in sports. So, yeah, he's built for adversity. Still, this time, it's different. Because when you add in a $50 million lawsuit and internet gossip about his personal life, suddenly the game gets way more dangerous. It's not just about money anymore, it's about perception. And perception, in 2025, it's everything. A single rumor can destroy a 30-year career in 30 minutes. And while Shannon's doubling down with confidence, the internet's not convinced. People are saying, bro, if you're innocent, why even bring up money? Why not let your lawyers talk? But that's not Shannon. He's built on pride, image, and respect. And to him, staying silent means surrender. Still, there's one part of his response that had fans raising eyebrows. When Shannon started naming Tony Busby, that's when people went, oh wait, this isn't just personal anymore, because Busby's not some random lawyer chasing a check. He's got a history of taking down big names. And Shannon? He's about to find out the hard way just how far Busby's willing to go. But before you assume it's another celebrity versus lawyer story, wait till you hear what Shannon accused him of. Because the next twist, it's straight out of a Netflix conspiracy doc.
Serious question. The NFL has been asking some of the candidates about their orientation. How do you feel about that?
I think it's a good thing. You will find that somebody will come out and say that they're whatever the situation is. And I think it's a good thing. I think the more you grow as a person, as an individual, you become secure with who you are. And that doesn't matter what orientation is. I think that's a good thing.
Now that moment right there, that's when everything shifted. When Shannon dropped Tony Busby's name, the internet froze. Because if you know Busby, you know the man doesn't play small games. He's a courtroom shark, the kind of lawyer who smells blood, and suddenly the whole ocean clears out. So for Shannon to publicly say, Busby's been doing this, he targets people with power, and now I'm next? That's not just confidence. That's a declaration of war. And it's not like Busby's reputation came out of nowhere. We're talking about a man tied to major celebrity lawsuits, political scandals, and cases that made national headlines. He's known for picking battles that get attention and winning most of them. So the second Shannon said that name, people started connecting dots. Why him? Why now? And who's really pulling the strings? Because according to Shannon, this wasn't some emotional ex out for revenge. It was strategic, calculated, a move meant to take him down at the peak of his success. And honestly, the theory checks out for a lot of people. Think about it. Shannon Sharpe has been winning nonstop. He turned Club Shay Shay into one of the biggest interview platforms in entertainment. He landed deals with ESPN, got athletes and celebrities quoting his lines. He became more than a sports analyst. He became a brand. And when you reach that level, you stop fighting just your enemies. You start fighting systems. That's exactly how Shannon framed it. He wasn't just fighting a lawsuit. He was fighting an organized effort to silence him. He said, they know I'm outspoken. They know I don't play by their rules. And now they're trying to use my past to bury me. And the way he said it? Calm, serious, almost spiritual, like a man who's already seen this storm before. Fans started calling him the uncancelable. Tweets said things like, Busby picked the wrong one this time. They tried to set up a legend, but legends don't fold. But others weren't buying it. Critics said Shannon was spinning the narrative to distract from the real issue, the lawsuit itself. They said he was trying to turn it into a story about power and fame to avoid accountability. And that's the tricky part. When both sides are this powerful, truth becomes blurry. Everyone's got an agenda, everyone's got receipts, and nobody's backing down. Still, there's something about Shannon's tone that makes this story feel different. He's not just defending himself, he's warning people. Warning that this might not stop with him. Because if Busby's really been running this play, if he's allegedly been targeting people with influence, then Shannon might just be the latest chapter in a much bigger book. And when a man like Shannon Sharpe starts calling out systems instead of individuals, it's not about gossip anymore, it's about exposure. But the question everyone's asking now is, did Shannon go too far by naming names? Because once you bring a power player like Tony Busby into the spotlight, the story stops being about a lawsuit and starts becoming about revenge. And what happens next might be the most explosive part yet.
Gay. I mean, anytime you lay with a person that has the same thing that you have between thy legs and you sleep with them, you're gay. But I think that I probably was the first guy that he tried, and he liked it. It was good. It really was.
That line right there, pure cinema. When Shannon stared straight into that camera and said, "You can try to expose me, but you'll end up exposing yourself." It wasn't just a clapback, it was a prophecy. You could feel the tension shift. The audience wasn't just cheering for a quote, they were witnessing a man reclaiming his own narrative live. It's wild because this was supposed to be Shannon's breaking point, his cancel moment, but instead, he turned it into a power move. You know how most celebrities go ghost when the internet turns on them? Shannon went full motivational speaker mode, calm voice, steady gaze, no script, no tears, just energy. One viral comment said, "He's talking like Thanos after surviving the snap." Another read, "Bro just gave a masterclass on handling public humiliation." And honestly, they're not wrong. This was the same man who came from nothing, literally a steel mill and a dream, and built himself into a sports media empire. So when people tried to cancel him, he didn't fold. He flipped the script and made it motivational content. It's giving "you can't break someone who's already been broken." It's giving main character in a redemption arc. But here's the crazy part. Behind that confidence, Shannon knew he was playing chess, not checkers. Every sentence was a setup, every word was bait. Because when he said, "You'll end up exposing yourself," it wasn't random. He was talking to someone specific. Yep, insiders believe that line was a direct shot at 50 Cent and the anonymous sources behind the alleged deleted files. And that's when things really started spiraling behind the scenes. Because hours after this clip dropped, 50 posted another cryptic message, just a black screen and the words, "Greater than, when the truth comes out, don't say I didn't warn you." Now everyone's wondering, was Shannon calling his bluff? Or does he know something that we don't? This isn't just two celebrities beefing. This is turning into a digital chess match where each move could end careers. And the fans? Oh, they're eating this up like popcorn. TikTok edits are soundtracking his quote with dramatic music, YouTube commentators are calling it Shannon's era, and Reddit's having full-blown debates on whether he's the victim or the villain in this saga. And the best part? Nobody agrees. Some say Shannon's finally standing up to the toxic side of fame. Others say he's just deflecting heat with confidence and charisma. But one thing's clear, the man knows how to control a moment. Even his haters had to admit, that was a mic drop speech. Because whether you love him or hate him, Shannon Sharpe just proved that cancel culture only works if you let it. And yet, as powerful as that moment was, it's what came after that really changed everything. Because just when the dust started to settle, someone else decided to enter the chat. And trust me, you're not ready for who showed up next.
Nobody was uncomfortable, because if you're uncomfortable, you don't do it more than one time.
And boom, the final boss enters the arena. 50 Cent, the king of online pettiness, the man who can turn a beef into a Billboard hit, went live and basically said, "Yeah, I started the fire, but don't blame me if you get burned." This wasn't just a live stream, it was a digital declaration of dominance. The way he smirked when he said, "If it's true, that's on him," felt like a villain monologue straight out of a Netflix docuseries. And the internet instantly divided. One fan said, 50 treating this like it's season 2 of Power. Another joked, "At this point, Shannon versus 50 needs a pay-per-view event." And honestly, they might not be wrong, because this wasn't just shade, it was strategy. See, 50 Cent has a long history of weaponizing the internet. He doesn't just post, he plants seeds. He lets the fans, blogs, and gossip pages do the dirty work while he sits back and watches the wildfire grow. It's genius and diabolical at the same time. But this time, Shannon wasn't backing down. Reports started surfacing that Shannon's legal team was gearing up to respond, not just with words, but with action. Sources close to him allegedly said, "He's not afraid of 50, and he's not afraid of receipts." And that's where the story hits a dangerous crossroads, because both men are known for their pride, their platforms, and their ability to go too far. 50's live might have seemed casual, but every sentence was layered, half threat, half performance, all control. And when he dropped that last line, "Don't start something you can't finish," fans knew this wasn't over. Because here's the thing about celebrity drama in 2025. It's not about who's right or wrong anymore. It's about who owns the narrative. And right now, Shannon and 50 are both trying to prove that they're the main character of this chaos. Meanwhile, Fans are turning it into content, reaction edits, mock trials, and conspiracy threads that make true crime documentaries look tame. Everyone's searching for the deleted files, the real story, the smoking gun. But maybe the real drama isn't in the evidence, it's in the performance. Because whether this whole saga is truth, manipulation, or just another day in influencer purgatory, both men are winning in their own way. Shannon's podcast views, up, 50's engagement, sky high, everyone's watching, reacting, sharing, and no one's looking away. That's the game. And both of them are playing it perfectly. But let's be real, this feud just opened a door that might never close. Because if 50 actually has something bigger and Shannon really decides to clap back legally, this could evolve into one of the most talked about celebrity showdowns of the decade. So the real question is, who's telling the truth? Is 50 really exposing or just exploiting? Is Shannon the victim or the master of media manipulation? As the dust started to settle, it became clear that the Shannon Sharpe situation had moved beyond gossip and into something much bigger. What started as an online feud was now morphing into a full-blown cultural conversation about power, exposure, and the price of fame in a world where privacy barely exists anymore. The blogs were still eating it up, and gossip pages kept posting recycled clips, but there was something different in the air now. It wasn't just about what Shannon allegedly did or what 50 Cent might reveal. It was about how fast the internet can twist perception and decide who's guilty before anyone even gets a chance to speak. Behind the scenes, Shannon's team was working overtime to control the fallout. They weren't just trying to silence rumors, they were trying to protect a legacy. Years of building credibility, working his way from the NFL into media dominance, now being tested by whispers, leaks, and a narrative he couldn't seem to control. Every headline had his name in bold, every blog title had the word exposed, and every podcast was debating whether Shannon was being targeted or if he brought this all on himself. It was the perfect storm of scandal and spectacle, and Shannon found himself caught right in the middle. Meanwhile, 50 Cent continued to fan the flames. He didn't need to say much. A single post, a single meme, even a laughing emoji was enough to send the internet spiraling. He understood timing better than anyone. Drop a post at the right hour, and it's trending by morning. Delete it just fast enough, and it becomes legend. People start saying, "Did you see what 50 posted?" And suddenly, the myth becomes bigger than the moment. It's the kind of manipulation that only a true internet tactician could pull off, and 50 had mastered it years ago. But while the public saw memes and sound bites, what they didn't see was the internal chaos behind closed doors. Shannon's sponsors were getting nervous. Networks were asking questions. Every brand connected to him wanted assurance that their image wouldn't be dragged into the mud. And the more he tried to clarify, the more people twisted his words. That's the trap of modern fame. The truth doesn't matter as much as the version people want to believe. And right now, the internet wanted drama. The stylist situation kept resurfacing too. Even after months of silence, Mugler couldn't resist hinting that he knew more. Subtle captions, cryptic emojis, and late-night posts kept people guessing. He never said Shannon's name directly, but everyone knew who he was talking about. Each post would get screenshotted, reposted, and analyzed like it was evidence in a courtroom. Fans would flood the comments, trying to decode the message, debating whether he was bitter, honest, or just chasing relevance. Either way, it kept Shannon's name alive, and not in the way he wanted. Through it all, Shannon tried to maintain his composure. On his podcast, he avoided the topic completely, focusing on interviews and sports discussions. But viewers could feel the tension. His usual confidence had a different edge to it, like someone who was carrying a storm behind his smile. The comments under his videos told the story, half support, half suspicion. Some fans said they'd stand by him no matter what. Others said he needed to address the rumors head-on. Silence, in their eyes, was an admission. And that's the double-edged sword of fame. The same audience that builds you up will tear you down if you don't give them constant clarity. Still, Shannon's situation revealed something deeper about the entertainment industry. It showed how fragile reputations have become in the digital age. One rumor can erase years of credibility. One clip can overshadow a lifetime of work. And when people like 50 Cent amplify those moments, it doesn't just trend, it transforms into a movement. The line between truth and entertainment disappears completely, and suddenly, your real life becomes a storyline for millions to dissect. As weeks turned into months, more layers of the story started surfacing. Some insiders began speaking anonymously, claiming there was more to come. Others said Shannon had already started gathering evidence of defamation to protect himself. Reports mentioned private investigators, sealed documents, and even meetings with media lawyers. Whatever was happening behind the curtain, it was clear Shannon wasn't planning to take this lying down. He was preparing for a counterattack, not on social media, but in court. That move alone shifted the energy. The blogs started to change their tone slightly, adding allegedly to every new headline. Some influencers deleted old posts to avoid being dragged into legal trouble. The loudest voices suddenly went quiet, but even then, the damage was already done. The internet had already written its version of the story, and cleaning that up is nearly impossible. Once the algorithm decides you're guilty, you stay guilty, no matter what the truth is. Meanwhile, 50 Cent kept doing what he does best, staying one step ahead. He teased more information, dropped indirect jabs, and hinted at unseen files that fans were desperate to find. But in classic 50 fashion, he never fully delivered. Just enough to keep people watching, but never enough to give them closure. That's his genius, keeping the conversation alive without ever needing proof. It's psychological warfare wrapped in entertainment, and it works every single time. As all this unfolded, public opinion started to split even harder. Some fans began turning against 50, calling him out for going too far. They said he was exploiting a black man's downfall for clout. Others applauded him for keeping it real and exposing the fake. The divide was deep. Part of the internet wanted truth, the other part just wanted a show. And while they argued, both men's names stayed trending. Both of their brands were still buzzing. Even in chaos, they were winning the attention war. But attention isn't peace. Behind the scenes, people close to Shannon described him as frustrated, exhausted, and determined to clear his name. Every day was another wave of comments, jokes, and viral edits. His legacy, once built on respect and work ethic, was being redefined by memes. And no matter how much success he had, it seemed like the noise wouldn't stop. In the world of viral content, there's no such thing as moving on, only the next headline. As more time passed, Shannon began to slowly reclaim control. He doubled down on his work, refocused his podcast, and avoided unnecessary appearances. It was a subtle shift, but a smart one. Let the internet burn itself out and then quietly rebuild behind the scenes. Some fans noticed the difference. They said he looked calmer, more grounded. Others said it was the calm before another storm. But either way, Shannon was moving strategically, less talking, more doing. At the same time, whispers continued about the deleted files, the mysterious claim that started it all. People searched endlessly, but nothing concrete ever surfaced. Screenshots, fake clips, and AI edits flooded the web, each one claiming to be real. It became almost impossible to tell truth from fiction. But maybe that was the point all along. The chaos was the story. The drama was the distraction. And by the time people realized that, it was already too late. Because while everyone was arguing about what might be real, both men had already moved on to their next plays. Shannon was rebuilding his empire, getting back to business, and preparing for his eventual public comeback. And 50 Cent? He was already on to the next headline, teasing another story, another scandal, another target. The machine never stops. Fame feeds on chaos, and chaos feeds on fame. In the end, nobody wins. They just survive. And maybe that's the real lesson here. In a world where clicks mean currency, and narratives are more powerful than facts, you either control the story or become a victim of it. Shannon Sharpe learned that the hard way. 50 Cent already knew it. And the audience? They're the fuel that keeps it all alive. The watchers, the sharers, the reactors, the digital jury that decides who rises and who falls. So while the headlines might fade, the echoes of this saga will linger. Every new scandal, every new leak, every new rumor will trace back to moments like this, where power, perception, and paranoia collide. And as the next wave of stories hit the timeline, one thing's for sure, the internet never forgets, and it never forgives. As the storm finally began to quiet down, something interesting happened. The people who had once fueled the chaos, the bloggers, the fan pages, the internet detectives, all started quietly moving on. The hashtags slowed down, the engagement dipped, the outrage faded, because that's how the internet works. It builds you up, breaks you down, and then leaves you behind once there's a new name to trend. But while the noise outside slowed, the real story was still unfolding behind the scenes. Shannon wasn't done. He'd been quiet, but not defeated. Sources close to him said he was rebuilding strategically, trimming his circle, cutting off the wrong energy, and planning his comeback. This wasn't a man broken by scandal. It was a man learning who really had his back when the cameras weren't rolling. And the irony, the same people who doubted him at his lowest were now watching him rise again, quietly, calmly, and calculated. He went from being the story to owning it, from being the topic to controlling the narrative. That's the cycle of fame. If you can survive the fall, you get to rewrite the ending. Meanwhile, 50 Cent moved on like only 50 can. Another headline, another beef, another cryptic post. He knows how to play the long game. Every controversy is just another season in the ongoing show that is 50 Cent versus everybody. Love him or hate him, you can't deny he knows how to keep the world watching. And maybe that's what keeps him untouchable. He's not chasing clout, he's orchestrating it. And yet, this whole saga exposed something much bigger than either man. It showed how fragile truth has become online. One clip, one quote, one rumor, and careers can hang by a thread. Facts don't matter as much as timing. Integrity doesn't trend as fast as outrage, and once you're caught in that storm, even silence becomes suspicious. Still, through all the noise, one truth stood out. Shannon Sharpe isn't going anywhere. Whether you believe he was targeted, reckless, or just caught in the crossfire, one thing's certain. He's still standing, he's still building, he's still relevant, and that says a lot in a world that moves this fast, because in the end, fame is survival. It's not about staying perfect, it's about staying present. It's about learning that not every leak deserves a response, not every headline needs a reaction, and not every loss is a defeat. Sometimes disappearing for a while is the real power move. And for 50, he'll always be the architect of chaos, the man who turns scandal into strategy. Whether you call it petty or genius, he's mastered the art of staying relevant through other people's storms. But that's not even the wild part, because if you've been watching 50's recent moves, you already know he's hinting at another target, another celebrity, another story ready to explode next. So now, as Shannon slowly rebuilds his legacy and 50 sharpens his next move, we're all left with the same question. Was this just a random feud, or another perfectly timed distraction in the entertainment chess game? In a world where everybody's watching, who's really controlling the narrative? Think about it. Was Shannon exposed or just exploited? Was 50 calling him out or calling attention to himself? And when it comes to power, influence, and fame, who's really pulling the strings behind all this deleted file drama? One thing's for sure, this story isn't done, not even close. Because in the world of celebrity secrets and internet receipts, there's always another chapter loading, always another leak waiting to drop, always another headline ready to break. And don't go anywhere. Click the next video you see on your screen for even more juicy celebrity chaos, betrayals, and stories Hollywood doesn't want you to know. This is just the beginning.